Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the absolutely wild evolution of Samsung. We're going to trace how a tiny, local grocery trader transformed into a global tech titan. A company so insanely influential that its home country of South Korea is sometimes jokingly called the Republic of Samsung. So let's jump right into this massive journey of adaptation and relentless growth.
It's honestly kind of mind-blowing when you really think about it. The exact same company powering that bleeding-edge smartphone in your pocket, the one managing your schedule with AI and literally folding in half, actually started out exporting dried fish, vegetables, and noodles back in the 1930s. We're talking about a nearly 90-year timeline of constant reinvention, shifting from basic agriculture all the way to defining the future of our digital lives.
And, well, that constant reinvention has definitely paid off. By 2023, Samsung Group had firmly cemented itself as a top 10 most valuable brand worldwide, sitting on a staggering $99.66 billion valuation. They're standing shoulder to shoulder with the biggest tech giants on the planet. This isn't just a successful business, it's practically a foundational pillar of the global economy.
That incredible brand value translates directly into total hardware dominance, too. Just looking at smartphones, they commanded a massive 21.6% of the global market share based on shipments in 2022. That kept them right ahead of major rivals like Apple, which is just a huge testament to their global reach and manufacturing efficiency.
Section 1. The humble 3 stars.
So, to really grasp how they got this huge, we have to rewind back to 1938. A Korean entrepreneur named Lee Byung-chul opened a small shop called Samsung Sungho. He hired about 19 workers just to export local produce to China and Manchuria. The word Samsung actually translates to 3 stars, which was a name Lee chose deliberately because he wanted the company to be big, strong, and eternal. So even back then, trading dried fish, the vision was incredibly ambitious.
After the devastation of the Korean War, Lee essentially had to rebuild the company from the ashes. To scale up, they leaned heavily into human capital. By the 1980s, they were intensely recruiting recent graduates and training them to become dedicated Samsung men. These employees were steeped in traditional Confucian ideals of loyalty and vertical social structures. The idea was that they weren't just working a 9-to-5, they were actively building a new Korean economy. And honestly, that unified, intensely loyal workforce was crucial for scaling their early manufacturing.
But as the decades rolled on and they pushed into complex electronics, leadership had a wake-up call. A rigid, traditional culture can actually stifle innovation. Chairman Lee Kun-hee captured this perfectly in 1999 when he noted that they hadn't invested nearly enough in developing creative human capital. That realization sparked a massive cultural pivot. They started breaking those traditional molds, actively bringing in outside talent and non-Koreans to inject fresh, diverse perspectives. And that shift in mindset, that's what really set the stage for their explosive entry into modern mobile tech.
Section 2. The Galaxy Mobile Revolution. You can track their relentless innovation through a series of just massive technological leaps. Way back in 1999, long before smartwatches were a thing, Samsung actually developed a watch phone. But the real turning point was 2010, with the launch of the original Galaxy S. After that, they were unstoppable. 2011 brought the Galaxy Note, which basically invented the large-screen smartphone category. Then came the bezel-pushing Infinity display in 2017, and by 2019, they were already kicking off the foldable revolution.
And they weren't just bumping up processor speeds every year, they were completely redefining what a phone could do. They rolled out stunning Super AMOLED displays, and back in 2013, the Galaxy S4 integrated S-Health, turning our phones into everyday fitness trackers. They gave us IP68 water resistance to make devices practically life-proof, and eventually ushered in the era of Galaxy AI to streamline our daily routines.
Section 3. Stumbles, Fires, and Resilience.
Now, it definitely wasn't all smooth sailing. Take August 2016, for example. Samsung launched the Galaxy Note 7, which was supposed to be their next massive hit. Instead, it turned into an absolute crisis when customers started reporting the batteries were literally catching fire. It was a PR nightmare. The company's initial response took a lot of heat, especially when replacement phones ended up having the exact same battery issues.
Honestly, a disaster of that magnitude could have easily bankrupted a lesser company. But what's truly wild here is their resilience. Yes, the crisis caused their global market share to dip down to 21.1% in 2016, but they totally absorbed the blow, restructured their safety protocols, and bounced right back to 21.7% the very next year.
Their brand loyalty and ability to pivot proved to be just incredibly strong.
Section 4. The Automotive M&A Pivot.
Having survived the mobile wars, Samsung knew they couldn't just rely on smartphones forever. They saw the smart car era approaching and decided not to just build from scratch, but to basically buy their way to the front of the line. They pulled off a staggering $8 billion acquisition of Harman International. It was a massive statement. They were merging their electronics dominance directly with automotive machinery.
And this wasn't just about scoring some high-end car speakers. Acquiring Harman instantly gave Samsung top-tier capabilities in complex tech like telematics, which is the data communication systems in cars, as well as connected safety and cloud experiences. It handed them the software power and the crucial manufacturer relationships they needed to help build tomorrow's autonomous vehicles, meaning the tech keeping you safe on your commute could very well be powered by Samsung.
Section 5. AI, Foldables, and Beyond. So where exactly does all this resilience and constant pivoting leave them today? Well, looking at the 2026 tech landscape, the Galaxy S26 Ultra is completely setting the standard. We're talking a massive 6.9-inch display hitting 3,000 nits of peak brightness, which is just blindingly bright for perfect sunlight visibility. But the real kicker is the world's first built-in privacy display. It obscures the screen from the sides so your data stays private and public. Add in that Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 processor and deeply integrated Galaxy AI Photo Assist, and it is an absolute powerhouse. But of course, they aren't stopping at phones or watches. Samsung clearly believes the next big computing platform will be worn on our faces. They're actively forging the future of extended reality, or XR, hardware. And they're not going it alone either. They've partnered up with industry heavyweights like Google and Qualcomm to make sure they're right at the forefront of whatever augmented or virtual reality hardware comes next. Their ambitions go way beyond physical hardware, too. They are actively staking a claim in digital spaces and the decentralized metaverse, which was super obvious during their massive virtual takeover of the 837X store in Decentraland. They're experimenting and building out their own virtual reality spaces to ensure the Samsung brand is just as dominant digitally as it is physically.
The evolution here is just staggering. From exporting dried fish and noodles in 1938, all the way to engineering autonomous driving components, AI privacy displays, and metaverse real estate in 2026. With their hands in practically everything that defines our modern world, we really just have to ask, what will the Republic of Samsung conquer next? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and definitely keep your eyes on the horizon.